Welcome to Ag Shorts. I'm Calen. He's Brandon. Today we'll discuss the various weather patterns that you can find in Montana. A lot of them are directly from Canada. Thank you, Canada. And we just recently experienced that with the Arctic blast the entire United States felt, but we tend to get that on a regular basis from our partners up north. So with that, I'll turn it over to Dad.
Yeah, I don't think there was really a need for a country of origin labeling on this last weather vortex we had because I think Canada goes clear to the Arctic on that one, and that's where it came from. Not fun. You know it's coming. You prepare all you can. You think of everything you can think of to uh, get vehicles ready, plugged in, uh, hay down, supplemental feed set, so that you're not having to do a lot of work with a lot of different equipment. So I spent a day just getting a bunch of hay ready and in place so that all we had to use is a feed pickup, not just a pickup and then the tractor. So in spite of doing all of those things, plugging in vehicles, when you got 22 below and was a 25-mile-an-hour, almost 30 at times, it was gusting up to 30-mile-an-hour winds for a 50 below wind chill. All of the stuff I did in college in physics, chemistry, I always said wind chill does not affect non-living things, and that is wrong. If you have ever been around equipment, say, here's a good example. Truck drivers will tell you when you're going down the road in a truck and it's 10 below and you got the wind blowing past you because you're making the wind going through the air, it will freeze or gel your fuel lines if you're not protected, or you can only go so cold before they're going to gel anyway. If they're sitting there, they won't freeze at the same temperature. They'll freeze at a lot lower temperature than it is when you have a wind chill. So you have to think of things like that as being a living thing. Water, liquid, oils, those are all affected. I don't care what my professors told me in college. Those guys never worked with their hands. So you do everything you can to get it ready, and it's coming. You chop wood, you have fire ready, your propane tanks hopefully are going to be full enough to withstand that amount of time that goes by, and you hunker down, and then you just take it, and you still get done what you need to do. You dress for it as best you can, and you move slower. Nothing gets done fast because it took us, what was it, 4 hours, 5 hours to feed and get water cleared, vehicles started, and that was the biggest thing, is getting the vehicles started, which never happened that day. We had one vehicle start and we couldn't get the rest of them started with it. So, and that one was not usable for what we needed to do to feed. So we ended up doing by hand.
That's the winter too. And in the summertime, a lot of the times where we're South Central Montana, so we're about 60 miles, 70 miles off the eastern front of the Rocky Mountains. And the closest range to us that's really technically part of the Rockies is the Crazy Mountains. And those crazies will actually stop a lot of rainfall as well. So we fall into a desert rain shadow. And it's kind of interesting that way too. So you'll get northern Arctic blast a lot of times in the wintertime, and even cooling air that helps create thunderstorms in the summer. But a lot of times the rain that's headed our way gets stopped also by the Rocky Mountains. So it's an interesting layout for Montana.
Yeah, in the wintertime, we get those northwest winds, or the predominant wind and prevailing winds. And then in the spring and then into the summer, our winds are from the southwest predominantly. So we get all that heat coming up from California. There's Santa Ana winds, things like that. We tend to get those later on, which I'd rather have that the opposite. If we could get some of those southern winds in the summer or in the wintertime and the northern winds in the summer, that would be a little bit better, but it just doesn't work like that. So you take what you can get. You can't control it. So it's summertime is also another way. You absolutely make sure your water is open for your cows. Water is just as important in the wintertime, believe it or not, as it is in the summertime for dehydration. So cold, dry air really will shrivel these cows up. So you got to make sure that they're nice and filled with water and available fresh water too.
And that's weather patterns in Montana.